This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, today's topic is conditional probability. We studied simple probability last time, and we know the concept of probability now. So, conditional probability is little different than the usual probability. We give some additional information before asking the probability. That additional information is basically a condition. That's why we call it conditional probability. So the probability that an event B occurs given that event A has already occurred. Okay, this is called the conditional probability. So given that event A occurs, it means we will assume that A has already occurred. This event A has already occurred. So based on this occurrence, now we are asking you what is the probability of B. Okay. So if I just ask you what is the probability of an event B, you will write it as probability of B. That's it, right? This is the probability of B. But when we say that given a conditional probability, we put a slash here and we write A, right? So it means this is the probability of B given that A has already occurred. All right, so A is basically the condition and B is the question. Okay, so this is the notation, probability of B given A. Now, of course, A is a given event of whatever is here is given event. Given means it is already occurred. Let's say I give you an example. If I roll a die, the sample space is this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 faces of uh, a die. Anyone can occur. So let us define two events F and O. F for 5 and O for odd number. So let's say F is the event, a 5 appears, a 5 is rolled, and O for odd, right? An odd already appeared. Now, based on these two, I can ask you questions. For example, here, the questions are what is the probability of F? Now, you see, this is not a conditional probability. The first one is not conditional because nothing is given to me. I said if I roll a die, what is the probability of 5? What is the probability that a 5 is rolled? Everyone knows that it is 1 by 6. Agree? Because there are 6 outcomes, total outcomes, and 5 is favorable to it. This 1 is favorable to 5 and total are 6. So 1 by 6 is the probability. Simple, right? But now asking you the probability of again F, what is the probability of F given that an odd has already comes up, right? An odd has already came up. So I now know that odd is come up. So what is the probability of 5 now? So to answer this question, what I will do, I will reduce my sample space. For simple probability, this whole thing is my sample space, right? From 1 to 6. My sample space is 1 to 6. But we, for conditional probability, he said odd comes up. So it means this 2 is not there, 4 is not there, and 6 is not there now for second question, right? Because I gave you the information that an odd number has come up. So 1, 3, and 5. So there are only 3 possibilities now. 3 possibilities. Out of these 3 possibilities, what is the probability of 5? Now you know that this probability will be 1 by 3 because my total outcomes are not 6 now. Now my outcomes are 3 because I have given you the information. You see, I rolled the die. I did not show you the die, right? I saw the dice and I said it's an odd number. I gave you the information. It's an odd number. Now tell me, what are the chances of 5? You will say that there are 3 odd numbers on a die. So chances are 1 by 3 because 5 is still one of them. Okay. So see how the probability changes. This is the probability of 5. This is also the probability, but this was unconditional. So total outcomes were 6, 1 comes up. Here it is a conditional probability. Odd information is given to me. So we call it reduced sample space. This is a concept of reduced sample space. We reduced our sample space. Okay. Our sample space is reduced. So my sample space is 1, 3, and 5. This is for question number B, for B. My sample space is reduced. Now probability of 5 come here is 1 by 3. Got it? I think it's not very difficult concept. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Probability of O given that not 5. Probability of O, odd number, O is for odd, and given that it's not 5. Okay, so now this is given. So for C, if I write reduced sample space, what will be that? For 5, my reduced S will be, because I only gave you the information that my outcome is not 5. It means it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Right? What was my information? My information was it is not 5. So it means if it is not 5, so 5 will not be here. All others can appear. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Only 5 is gone. Now my total number are 5. Okay. So now what is the probability of odd? Now count how many odds are here. 1 is still there and 3 is still there. So there are 2 odds out of 5. So this probability will become 2 by 5. Okay. So that's how we can calculate conditional probability. You can complete these two as well. F given not O and O given F and so on. These are solved in next slides. These are solved. I have all the information here. You see, probability 5, 1 by 6. Favorable by total, right? Favorable to 5 is 1, total are 6. So 1 by 6. F given O, 1 by 3, because reduced sample space is just 1, 3, 5. Here reduced sample space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So I got 2 by 5 and so on. Okay. So you can easily compute that. You see, he said, what is the probability of 5 given that not odd? I have already told you that it is not an odd number. Then do you think that there can be 5 now? No, it is impossible. When I gave you the information that your outcome is an even number, there is no odd there, so it means 5 cannot come up, so your probability has to be 0. You can directly write 0 here. No need to use this. You can directly write 0. Why? Because I'm asking you 5 when I'm giving you condition that there is not an odd number. So 5 cannot be an even number. So it is an impossible event. So the probability has to be 0 for that. Okay. Let's move on. This is a table given which relates the age and rank of a faculty member, right? So there are different age group professors in different age groups. You know, there are lecturers in a university like Mr. Mustafa, Mr. Arshad, etc. Then there are assistant professors like me, Dr. Zafar. Most of teachers in our college are assistant professors. Then we get promotion and becomes associate professor. There are, I think, couple of associate professors in the university. Then there is a full professor. Who is the full professor here? I think our VC, Professor Abood, right? He is a full professor. So there are 4 ranks: lecturer, assistant professor, associate professor, and full professor. Then we have age groups. Of course, there are different age groups as well. Usually lecturers are under 30, right? But there can be others one as well, from 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and 60 and above. Okay, if you have a criteria of retirement at 60, then there will be no one from 60 and above. But there in some universities there are above 60 as well. Now if you want to read this table, what does this 163 mean? 163 means that there are 163 professors whose age is between 39 age is between 39 30 and 39, and they are assistant professor. So they are in rank or 3 and they are in age group 2. This is what we will say. Similarly, there are 68 people, faculty members, who are in age group A4 who have rank R2 or for rank age group, right? And if you look at the totals, if you go to the total, 402 professors who are in age group A2, any rank. Now here the rank is not a problem because it's a total. It means they are in age group A2. They can be lecturer, assistant professor, associate professor, all of them. In age group R1, R2, R3, R4. They can be in any rank. They are in age group A2. Similarly, here there are 320 people who are in rank R3. They can have any age now. So these are the total assistant professors. These are the total lecturers, no matter what age group they are in. Okay, and 1164 is the total faculty, regardless of their age and rank. Total faculty is 1164. Okay, that's how we can uh, rate, read this table. Now the question is, he said, what is the probability that if I choose a faculty member, he is in age group 4? Now this is not a conditional probability. You are just asking age group 4. So if you go to the age group 4, there are how many are in age 4? There are 253 people in age group 4, right? These are total faculty members in age group 4, and these are the total faculty 1164. So if you divide people in group age group 4 253 divided by 1154, if you divide this by this, you will get the probability of being in A4. So this is the probability. 253 total professors in age group A4 and total faculty member. Total faculty in age group 4, and here the total number of faculty, which are 1164. So this is the probability. Now they are asking you the same probability, but now a condition is given. What is the probability of being in age group A4, but given that you are from R3, rank 3? I think rank 3 is assistant professor, right? Rank 3 is assistant professor. So what is the probability? I have to, when you gave me the condition, use this column when you did not give me a condition. But when you gave me the condition, I will use this column now. This column will be used. Why? Because you have given me the condition, you are an assistant professor. This is the condition you gave me. So I will leave everything and I will come to this column. Now, what is your question? What is the probability that you are age group 4? So this is age group 4 now. This is your age group 4. This is A4 given R3, right? So now you are 26 people in age group A4, given that they were assistant professor and total number of assistant professor are 320. So instead of considering this column, now I am considering this column. So 36 by 320. So see, 36 by 320. 36 by 320. This is the answer. Okay, so this is also the concept of reducing the sample space, because total sample space is this. When you gave me the condition that you are in R4, I changed my sample space from here to here because you gave me R3, given R3, right? So given R3 means you are in 320, right? So now out of these 320, 36 are in age group 4. So you will divide these two. It's a concept of reduced sample space. Now I am writing it again in terms of the total one. This is not the question. Your question finishes here. Your question finishes here. What we are trying to elaborate, we want to give you a formula for conditional probability. To make it a formula for conditional probability, if you divide both sides 36 by 1164 and 320 by 1164, do you think anything will change? Nothing will change, right? Because you can cancel these two, right? So that's why nothing will change. So we can divide by any number up and down. Okay, we did that. Now, if I just look at this thing separately and this thing separately, then what are these two things? If I divide this 320 by 1164, it means I am giving you the probability of R3, because total people in R3, total in rank 3 are 320, total in rank 3 are 320 from here, and total number of faculty members are 1164. It means this probability is probability of R3. So this bottom one becomes probability of R3, right? But and here if I divide 36 by this whole probability, this is the probability of what? Because I'm dividing by the total. So it means it is not just A4. It is A4 and R3. 36 people are in A4 as well as in R3. Got it? So this is the probability. So this is the probability for A4 and R3. So this is a joint probability. All right. So that is the probability of A3. So why I wrote this? Reason is we are giving you the rule now. You see, if I change this to a general rule, that if I want to find the probability of a event B, given that A is given, A is already given, right? Then if you look at this formula, what is this? We have these two events. So at the top, we have the probability of occurring together. A and B both occur together. B and A and B is the same thing. You can write it as intersection as well. But divided by only R3. See, the given event comes down here. Only given event comes down here. You see this one. So you can use this formula for conditional probability, and that's written here. If A and B are any two events, then probability of B given A is given by this. Why we wrote probability A positive? Because if this given event is 0, then we cannot divide by 0. You see, if probability of A is 0, I cannot divide by 0. That's why it's a condition here that your, of course, when I'm saying that some event has already occurred, its probability is not 0. If a probability of some event is 0, it means that event has never occurred, right? So if it is occurred, this is automatically true. Okay, I can also write it as this: probability of A intersection B. You remember, intersection is for and. So at the top we can write either intersection or and. It's the same thing, because intersection and are the same thing. So this is the formula for the conditional probability. So we can use formula to find the answer as well. Another example is given: people who are single, married, widowed, or divorced, people who are male and female. So there are two categories: male, female, right? And marital status M1, M2, M3, M4. Okay. So now, if you want to find the probability of the adult selected is divorced, given that the selected is a male. So it means I want divorced is M4, probability of M4, given that is a male, male is S1, right? M for marital status and S for the sex of the person. So sex is male or female. You can use S1 and M for that. Now, if I use the formula M4 S1, it means at the top I need and probability S1 and M4, and at the bottom you just have the given probability. These are the probabilities given now. These are not the total number. Numbers are not given. Now the probability is given here. So this is I need S1 and M4. So S1 and M4 is this. S1 and M4. So this is the probability of S1 and M4. And what is the probability of S1? Probability of S1 is the total. This is the, so this is the probability of S1. Now the numbers are not given, just the probability is given. So that's why we just pick these number 0.44 divided by 0.484. These were the probabilities given, not the total numbers. That's why you see the sum of all probabilities is 1 here. Sum of all probabilities is 1. Okay. So you can ask more questions, answer most questions here as well. In the same question set the opposite. What is the probability of being a male given that he is divorced? The opposite now. S1 given M4. So this top one will not change, because if you change S1 here or M4 here, nothing change. Only the denominator will change. If you bring M4 here, it means M4 will come down here. So your formula will slightly change. The numerator is same. This is M4 because M4 is given. So now you can pick the probability of M4 in the denominator. So this is your probability of M4 and A4, AS1, and this is the probability of only M1. When you add the column, it's only the probability of M4 because you added the column here. This is the probability of M4 because you added the column. Okay, so this is your required probability. Let's have another activity. One card is selected at random from an ordinary deck of 52. If you have any question, you can ask before I go to this example. I think everything is good, right? All right. All right. Okay. So let's move on. One card is selected from 52 playing cards, of course. Let A be the event a face card is selected. You know what are the face card? King, Queen, and Jack. Jack, King, Queen, JQK. B is the event a king is selected, so only a king for B. And C is the event that a heart is selected. Okay, you can use F for face card, you can use K for king, you can use H for heart, right? You can use as well. But these things are given to us, so we are sticking with ABC. Now, question is, what is the probability of B? This is simple. It's not a conditional probability. B is a king. So how many kings are there? Kings are 4. There are only 4 kings, one for each suit. So 4 by 52 is the answer, 1 by 13, right? That is easy. But now he's asking what the probability of a king given that a face card is occurred, right? So this is the probability of a face card and a king divided by the probability of a face card. Right? So I use this formula because given comes down, you see, comes down here. Okay, and at the top both A and B. So what is the probability of both face card as well as a king, right? So a king appears, face card will automatically appear, right? So it means what is the intersection of A and B? Only 4, because there are 12 face cards but 4 kings, and all the kings are already in face cards. So it means there are only 4 common points. So 4 by 52. And divided by how many face cards? 8 is for the face card. There are 12 face cards. So 12 by 52 is the probability of face cards, A. So now 12, 12, 50, card 4, 3 are 12. So your answer is 1 by 3. Okay. So similarly, you can answer all these. It is solved. You see 4 by 52 and see this 4 by 12, 1 by 3. So all these questions are solved. You can go through it. Okay. This example is solved. You can easily, I guess, find the answers to these. Okay. But they are given here. C, D, E, all are done here. Let's see this question. This looks little different. Not difficult, different. There are 2 activities here. One activity solved. I asked this question previously in some of the exams. Let me go through this first. 2 balanced dice are thrown, one red and one green. What is the probability that the red die comes up 1, given that these are all given now? So it means for every part, given condition is changed. Okay, red comes up 1. So let's call it R1, 1 on red, right? and green comes up 3. Let's call it G3. There is 3 on green and 1 on red. So here he asks us what is the probability of R1 given that green 3. Okay. And in B part, this B part, what is the question? Question is still R1 because see, question is same for all. Question is same for all. What is the probability of R1? But here the given is changed. The sum on the dice is 4. Let's call it S4. Sum on the dice is 4, right? And this is the sum on the dice is 9. So these are three different questions. Probability of again red 1 on red given that the sum is 9, right? In short, we can use these events. So if you make if you make the table of all those as you did in the question here as well, right? If you write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are green, right? 5, 6, these are red. Let me pick green color. Here is the green. So I can pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't have to change the color. You can just write green. You can write green here and red here. Okay, and complete. So now 1 on red and 3 on green. So there is only one thing, you see, 3 on green and 1 on red, right? This is the only outcome. If you say and R1 and G3, probability of R1 and G3 is just 1 because there is only one event that gives you 3 on green and 1 on red divided by all green 3. All green 3 are 6 because 3 with 1, 3 with 2, 3 with 3, 3 with 4, 3 with 5, 3 with 6. 3 1, 3 2, 3 3, 3 4, 3 5, 3 6. So there are 6 total. So 1 by 6 should be the probability. If you want, you can write the reduced sample space like this. Green comes up 3. So G3 is the event greens come up 3. So you wrote R1 and G3 divided by G3, right? So you got 1 by 6. So if the sum on the dice is 4, there are only 3 possibilities that your sum is 4. So you can reduce your sample space to this new sample space because you gave me the information that the sum is 4. So it means there is only 3 options: 1, 3, 2, 2, and 3, 1. 1 on red, 3 on green, 3 on red, 1 on green, 2 on red, 2 on green, or 2 on green, 2 on red. Right? So this is your events. So now the sum on the 2 dice is 4, and now we are saying that there is 1 on the red. We are asking question 1 on the red. So how many 1 on the red is only 1? Because here 2 on the red, here 3. Okay. So your answer is 1. Similarly, you can finish the last one. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 possibilities for 9. If there are 4 possibilities on 9, then there is no 1 on the red, you see. Because you know that if there is 1 on the red, then sum cannot be more than 7. 1, and at the most you can get 6 on the other one. So this is not possible that your sum is 9 and there is 1 on red. It is not possible. So answer has to be 0. Here is the question which uses, let me see if there is any question now. So if there are 3 red balls, 5 blue balls, 8 green balls, 3 balls are drawn at random from the urn. urn is a bag, right? Given that the first ball drawn is red, what is the probability that the second ball drawn is green? Similarly, given that the first and the third ball are blue, what is the probability that the second ball is red? So you can again make the sample space first red, second green, then third ball can be anything. Okay, so if I pick if I pick the first one, what is the probability of red? Because how many are total? 3, 5, and 8, right? So 8 and 8, 16. 5, 3, 8 plus 8 total are 16. 16 total balls. Okay, total balls are 16. Now, if I pick the first one, what is the probability that it is 3? It will be 3 by 16 because total is 16, right? Then we multiply because the question is and. I'm not using the formula. I'm using the concept of conditional probability. But you know that when you ask us the probability of and, you multiply. It's a question that red on first, green on second, and anything on the third. So it is and, right? Probability of red on 1 and green on 2 and anything. On third one, it can be any, right? Green on 1, red on 1, green on 2, and anything for on the third one. So I will multiply these probabilities, right? But if I take the first one or one, that is 3 by 16. Now, second one is green. Green are 8 balls, but the probability will not be 8 by 16 now. Why not 8 by 16? Because green are 8, but my total are not 16 now. Total are 15. Because I have already taken out one red ball. Okay. I have already got one red ball outside. Now there are only 15 balls inside. Because the first one was red, so total green balls are still 8. Divided by 15. So this is the concept. Here is the conditional probability basically. This is what I got from the concept of conditional probability. Reason is I reduced the sample space. My previous sample space was 16. My new sample space is 15. Now I have 2 red, 5 blue, and 8 green after one draw withdrawn of the ball. This is my new sample space. So it is 8 by 15. Now my new is 2, 5, and 7. I have 14 balls total. Now I said any ball can come up, right? What is the probability of that? 14 by 14. Because total 14 left, and I said third is anything. I don't care about the third one. So it means whatever comes up. So the probability is 1. 14 by 14, right? So this is the total probability. Now you can multiply and get the answer. All right. So this was the concept. This was all about conditional probability. All right. I hope it's understood. You can go through this again, see the video again. If you have any questions uh, related to this topic, you can send me questions on WhatsApp group, and we can answer that. Next, I will start the concept of random variables, probability distributions, like you studied frequency distributions in a table. A data set is given, you can make frequency distribution with classes and frequency. Similarly, we can write total uh, outcomes. For example, I gave you the question in I said if 3 coins are tossed, how many sample points are there? You said head, 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 tail, head, tail, and so on, right? There are 8 all possible outcomes, tail, tail, tail. In the question I asked you, write the probability of every outcome. probability of every outcome was 1 by 8. 1 by 8, 1 by 8, 1 by 8. But I don't know, some people were writing probability of one head, probability of two heads, probability of three heads. I never asked you the probability as 1, 2, 3 heads or 1, 2, 3 tails. But I accepted your answer. I gave you full marks for that. So